Joining me to discuss the latest releases of PMI from China is Jinyue Dong, a China economist at BBVA. Jinyue, factory activity contracted in October when it remained unchanged at 49.8. Does this suggest the latest slew of stimulus from the People's Bank of China is not taking effect and supporting the economy, or is it really too early to tell?
I think it should be too early to tell the easy measures of the People's Bank of China, because starting from the November of the last year, they have 5 interest rate cuts and 4 RR cuts. However, the transmission from the interest rate and RR cuts to the manufacturing activity, the real economy, should be not that quick, and it should depend on whether the transmission mechanism is smoothly going, which, on the other hand, I think it should depend on the structural reforms process. So maybe I can give you an example, no matter how low the interest rates are at the current moment, the real estate sector still, people don't want to invest more on the housing construction because the inventory is very high. So there is no further investment at the current stage, although the easy measures are processing, like the interest rate has already very low. So that's why I think it is too early to say the easy measures cannot work at the current stage. But maybe we will give it maybe 1 or more years to see this kind of effect, which depends on the process of the structural reform for the whole society.
China's Caixin PMI released today rose to 48.3 in October from September's 47.2. Still in contraction mode, but is October's reading a sign that we could see a pickup in the final quarter of this year, or are you more pessimistic?
I think for this question, we have to say, maybe in terms of the PMI, we will say the Caixin China PMI, which is the sample of the Caixin PMI is tilted towards the small and medium size of the enterprises. And on the other hand, the NBS, the official PMI from the Statistics Department, most of it is for big firms. So I think if we only see the results from the Caixin PMI, it might not be very comprehensive. But on the other hand, the NBS PMI, which still maintains the 49.8 at this month, which is the same as the top of the last month. So it is both of the NBS PMI and the Caixin PMI are below the watershed level, which is 50. So that means I do not think the marginally increasing of the Caixin PMI can say the economy will go up in the last quarter of the 2015. So I think the chance for the whole year GDP to reach the 7 points of the authorities' target is quite rare at the current stage, because in the Q1 we have the 7%, and in the Q2 we have 7%, but in the Q3 we have 6.9%. However, very recent activity indicators such as both the Caixin and NBS PMI in October, as well as some other economic activity indicators in September, all of them pointed that the chance for the economy to bottom out, to pick up in Q4, should be quite rare for me.
Looking ahead to next year and 2017, how do you think the Chinese economy will perform, and how do you think the yuan will perform?
So for your first question of the economy's performance in 2016 and 2017, our BBVA forecasting for 2016 is 6.2%, and for the 2017 it is 5.8%. That means we forecast that the economy will kind of stabilizing at a comparatively lower level. That means we do not think the economy will go back to the previous very high speed of the growth in the following 2 years. However, for the economy as a whole, we think that the economic structure, although the growth rate is comparatively lower, but the economic structure will improve over time. So for the economic structure, we indicate that, for example, the consumption will surpass export as well as the investment will outperform both the net export and investment. On the other hand, for more sustainable and more healthy of the economy, we also believe that the structural reform will be continued for the next 2 years. For your second question of the yuan's performance, we forecast that at the end of the 2016 and 2017, the yuan to USD will reach 6.8, both for 6.8 for both 2016 and 2017. So that is comparatively it's depreciated. Compared to now, because now it is around 6.35. So that means we predict that the yuan will undergoing the mildly depreciation in the following 2 years after its sharp depreciation in August 11 of this year, after the PBOC announced the new yuan fixing price new mechanism of the yuan's reform. That means also together with the current capital outflow as well as the economic slowdown. So that means the whole market in the world, they kind of pessimistic about China's economy, which will, on hand, will give the downside pressure of the yuan's exchange rate.
It was lovely to speak with you, Jinyue, and thank you very much for your comments. Well, that is all for now. Enjoy the rest of your trading day. Goodbye for now.